Well, some of you might not know him, but I'm joined right now by Dylan Falco. I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so you are the current coach for Immortals, head coach.
Yep.
True. What is your background? How did you end up doing this?
Well, I started working with LCS teams about a year and a half ago. I originally worked with TSM as an analyst for a little over a year, and then I traveled with H2K for Worlds last year.
And how did you end up getting hooked up into the Immortals thing? Is it just you reached out to them, they reached out to you?
Well, Noah was impressed with some of the work I've done, both like in interviews and with my video series, and he reached out to me in the off season about having a coaching role with Immortals, the project. And we didn't have a roster at the time, so I worked like pretty closely with Noah through the entire off season, kind of putting together a coaching staff, putting together the team, and here we are.
Well, so you're in an interesting position. So far, Immortals is undefeated, just won their fifth game in a row. Huni and Rainover, this is no surprise to them. They've done this before. But what is an interesting question for me is how much of that is you? How much of that is them? Like, are they just, is the team so good that you can just sort of hit autopilot and go up there and then be like, yeah, I'm the best coach in the world. We're undefeated. It's all good. Or is it also a lot of you involved?
I think we definitely had an advantage coming to the season because our players are such veterans. We have like 4 LCS champions, and everyone has like a pretty long history playing at a really high level. So whereas a lot of other teams in the NALCS right now have new players or have new rosters or rookies that they need to kind of teach, we are in a good spot. That being said, like I think our coaching staff is doing a really good job. We focus a lot on team play, playing as a team, playing as 5, and also of trying to get them having the best, healthiest, and most efficient lifestyles possible.
I'm going to sneak back in a little bit. There we go. All right, so you're doing a lot behind the scenes to try to make sure that they're taken care of. We were talking a little bit before this. A lot of different coaches have different strategies or different ways that they go about it. Some are like, hey, you're not waking up and yell at them and just kind of go with a more traditional sports style, like stereotypical yelling at people thing. Others are more about the game and just making sure that the players are making good decisions in the game. For you, what is your approach with the team?
Our kind of team atmosphere in general at Immortals is like super, super laid back. Everyone on the team is really easygoing and like really positive people. That being said, we have really high expectations of our players. So me and our other coach, Robert, we're not really the types to kind of like yell at everyone to wake up and go and work. But it's kind of almost implied that we expect to be first place. So people need to put in that effort. As for my like individual role, I'm mainly focused on the gameplay stuff, but I kind of have a bit of role in everything. What I want to do is make sure our practice is as efficient as possible, that we're practicing the right things, that we're focusing and we have goals when we're practicing, and just really trying to get the guys to play as a team as 5 when they're on the Rift instead of just people playing for themselves.
Now, you may or may not know this, but Prawley is my worst enemy, arch nemesis.
Yeah.
You had the unfortunate displeasure of having to work with him at Worlds. What was that experience like?
Like Prawley has an incredible mind for the game. When it comes to like macro strategy, lane swaps, and all of that, like I think working with him with H2K, like I actually learned a lot by working with him, and I think he's a huge asset to like any team. And I'm like not surprised H2K is doing so well in Europe right now.
But still kind of a villainous person, you would say, right?
Yeah, he has his dark side.
So I thought. Now, also, a lot of the players themselves have rivalries. I was just talking to Adrian last week, did that interview with him where he was talking about how he feels like a lot of them have been, or a lot of the players on the team were considered kind of outcasts, or they were benched or removed from teams, and that it feels really good for them to all be playing against these guys. Next week you face Team Liquid.
Yep.
Team Liquid's coach is Locodoco, who you formerly worked with and under as an analyst. Do you feel like that's a rivalry? Are you ready to beat Loco and be like, the apprentice has become the master?
Not exactly. When you're playing against a team, like when we played against TSM and when I'm gonna play against TL, like I kind of want to win a little more. I'm still on like really good terms with both TSM and Loco. Like we're pretty good friends. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say I'd want to win a little more than usual.
Yeah. Are you going to have any choice words for him afterwards? You're gonna sort of do a dance around him if you win?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I'm like a sore winner.
You'll just shake his hand and be polite?
Yes, I think so.
It would be super sick if when you shake his hand on camera or whatever, you lean in and, say like Reggie sends his regards or something very I don't know, that doesn't even make sense, but something that's really dramatic and cool.
Yeah, I like the coach handshake meta. Some people go for like the back touch or like all sorts of other stuff. I try and keep it sort of standard. Yeah.
You could go for like a kiss on the cheek just to throw him off. He'd freak out and dance away.
I don't think so.
Is there anything that you would like to say to any of the Immortals fans out there who are watching? Maybe you can comment on the rumors that some of your players are making that this is the undefeated season for Immortals.
I think it's a little quick for that. Like we're only 5 games in. I know Hooney and Rainover, they kind of like joke about it because they've done it before and they think, oh, well, why can't we do it again?
Adrian said 18-0 too. He hasn't done it before either.
But I think, like, honestly, as staff, we try and focus on the next game, next weekend, and making sure we're as prepared as possible for next week and for, I guess, our game tomorrow as well. So we try not to get ahead of ourselves.
Sure. But if I was to force you to get ahead of yourself in this interview and give me a number, 15-3, 18-0, 14-6, whatever. I can't do math. But what would you say?
I'm not going to give you a number, but I think we'll do pretty well and probably will be first place. So
Damn. You're so good at these interviews already. Well, thank you so much anyway. I appreciate it. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things League of Legends at GameSpot.com/LOL.